UFC 323 is not only the final pay-per-view event of 2025, it might be the final pay-per-view event of all time. It is the end of an era. We are done with $80 main cards and we are done with ESPN. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to give you my bets for the record-setting UFC 323 event. But before we talk about this event, let's take a look back. We had a week off. You might have forgotten what happened at UFC Qatar, and what happened at UFC Qatar was a lot of money being printed. I didn't have the greatest night I've ever had, but Jacob had a phenomenal night. Sam had a phenomenal night, and the win streaks continue for the boys. Overall, at UFC Qatar, the premium members got 6.84 units of net profit with a 38% ROI. One of the bets inside of there is Sam's Slam of the week. That is the new beacon of stability. He has won 9 of the last 10, and the only one he lost, he kind of got screwed on. You can now check out every single bet we have, not only for UFC 323, but we also have bets on the board for UFC 324 and UFC Vegas 112. But it's not just copy-paste bets. If you go to WeWantPicks.com and you click Become a Member at the top, you unlock a whole suite of tools as well. It's one click of the button and you get everything. You're going to get tools like the line movement tracker, which will give you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every fighter on every card. You're going to get tools like the prop hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find pot bets. And then you're going to get tools like the fight simulator. This can be used for DFS purposes, but I love to use it for betting because once you run the fight simulator, it is not only going to tell you who wins, who loses, but through the 100,000 simulations it runs, it is going to show you how many significant strikes a fighter is projected to land, how many takedowns they're projected to land. And most sports books now offer lines on takedowns, on strikes, and a couple of other props that you can use this to set up for you. It's not just this event. It's not just next week's event. It's not just UFC 324. We have bets on the board for all the events coming up. We don't live in a week-to-week world. And while there's going to be a slight break between the holidays and the UFC Paramount kickoff, well, that's not going to stop premium membership. All the tools are already updated to include UFC 324. The bets will continue to flow in. So go to the website, unlock all of it now. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. Go out of the year with a bang. Do yourself a holiday favor and set yourself up for success. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. I'm going to show you the bets, but first, let's talk in generalities. Let's talk about some solid favorites and some solid underdogs on this card. This card is a little trickier than it seems on the surface. There's some obvious spots, at least in my opinion, but there's also a couple of weird landmines. For example, we have Maycee Barber as a 2-1 favorite. The woman who had a seizure in the locker room in her last fight, the woman who was in the hospital for 9 days, is a 2-1 favorite against a very dangerous opponent. So we've got a couple of weird spots here, but some very confident ones as well. Without any real detail, I can just show you and tell you that Mansur Abdul-Malik is a tremendous favorite. He should be a tremendous favorite. He beats the hell out of Antonio Trocoli. Minus 1,200 is not really a number you can do anything with. I don't recommend just adding them to parlays. What are you going to do? Make an extra $1.75, but risk it all? For all we know, that guy twists his ankle walking out there, and the risk was not worth the reward. So I would not parlay him. I think minus 1,200 is a little too far gone. You can get much better odds at Bet Openly. They are not a sports book. They are not a casino. It's just peer-to-peer. Then we have a couple of more obvious spots. We have Grant Dawson at minus 220. I am notably not a Grant Dawson fan. If Grant Dawson has no haters, that means I have died. I will be the last Grant Dawson hater standing. I think he's boring as hell. I think he doesn't have much personality. His fights are not very exciting to watch. But I do think he's good. He's a very skilled fighter. I don't have to enjoy the man's body of work to understand he's good at his job. I think he wins this fight. And to his credit, he just embraces being boring. Now, unless he's doing a rope-a-dope here, he has literally said in the press conference, I plan on sniffing his crotch and taking him down and holding him down. Now, that's not quite the exact words he used, but he literally leaned into the fact that I'm going to wrestle him. And if he plans on doing that, he should get the win. Alexandre Pantoja. I think Joshua Van is very good. I also think it's a little too much too soon for a very young Joshua Van. Joshua Van's also doing interviews talking about, I don't have a game plan. Now, hopefully he's full of shit, because having no game plan whatsoever against one of the best flyweights of all time, Kind of an insane thing to do. I think Pantoja moves forward, gets takedowns, does whatever he wants, similar to what he's been doing to everybody else on this recent run. And then Merab in the main event. This is a rematch. And there's an exorbitant amount of Petr Yan fans, far more than I even knew existed, apparently only exist in my videos going on and on. Oh, Petr Yan had a hurt shoulder last time. Petr Yan's going to win. Petr Yan's going to show you that there's levels to this. This is a rematch. Merab Dvalishvili had 11 takedowns the first time they fought. Merab, since the first time they fought, has leveled up far faster than Petr Yan has. What Merab has been doing to people is absolutely astonishing. The one and only concern could be that maybe Merab fought too much this year. Maybe he's cutting too much weight. That's the only thing that you could possibly lean on to be like, yeah, he might not have the best night. Outside of that, he already beat Petr Yan. Since he beat Petr Yan, he beat the absolute shit fuck out of everybody who looked in his direction. His rematch with Sean O'Malley was not closer than the first fight they had. What he just did to Corey Sandhagen was wild. Merab is leveling up at an insane pace, and I think he wins this fight pretty convincingly. If we look at some solid underdogs, there's a couple of random ones that are going to win on this card. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a couple of random dogs that people are not expecting to win that will win. But here's the ones that I am looking at. We got Nazim Sadykhov. He's a public favorite dog. You guys all love him. Everybody's picking Nazim, which you know what that means. He's going to lose. That's how that goes. Once 80% of the people say this underdog is going to win, that shit goes out the window. Nazim Sadykhov's the type of guy that Jacob would pick. Jacob would make the lock of the week. 99% of people would agree. And then he loses as an underdog, and the whole world jumps down his throat being like, oh, LOL, stupid. I knew that. LOL, terrible pick. Fate of the week. Meanwhile, every single person has picked Nazim Sadykhov. If you don't believe me, go to Tapology and check out the votes. Very heavily leaning Nazim Sadykhov. Check out the comment section anywhere. Also, very heavily leaning Nazim Sadykhov. I agree. In my defense, I didn't know what the hell everybody else was doing. I was the first person on YouTube to even consider breaking down this fight card, let alone picking Nazim and placing a bet on, which I'll show you in a second. Terrance McKinney. Terrance McKinney's live in every fight that he's in. This guy is dangerous as hell. For the first 2 minutes of any fight, he could basically murder a man. He comes out there, he's got insane hand speed, ridiculous takedowns, great grappling skills. He just has no cardio or chin. But to think that he is not live in this fight would be crazy. He's a solid underdog. Henry Cejudo. Listen, he's old. This is his retirement fight. Those don't typically go well for people unless you're Robbie Lawler. Henry Cejudo is an Olympic wrestler, and he hasn't been wrestling as much, and that Olympic Games was about 15 years ago. But we did see Peyton Talbot just 2 fights ago get ragdolled by a different old man with some wrestling credentials. I don't think Henry's going to win this fight, but it's not absurd. Like, if Henry does win this fight and he just takes down Peyton Talbot over and over again, how stupid are we? Like, how dumb is the collective MMA community that we just saw Hani Barcelos 1 year ago toss this kid around like it didn't matter, and then we have an Olympic wrestler and we're like, he's too old. We will be stupid if that happens. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, boy, are we stupid. And then Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno's another public dog. That whole speech I just gave you about everybody picking him to win, and if he doesn't win, everybody's going to be like, I knew it. That's you. Those noises are you. Brandon Moreno falls in that exact same category. Everybody's picking Brandon Moreno here, me included. Again, I broke down this card. I made these picks 3 weeks ago before anybody else. So people are copying me. Maybe, maybe not. Brandon Moreno is the far more experienced fighter in that matchup. He's the better striker in that matchup. He has high-level, championship-level experience. He's got cardio for days. He'll push a pace. He'll get in your face. He's unorthodox. I think he wins this fight. Obviously, if Tatsuro Taira takes you to the ground, that's a problem. I also don't like that this is 3 rounds. This should be a 5-round fight. I do think Brandon would need the extra rounds because his never-ending cardio would be pretty beneficial. And if Tatsuro Taira takes you down, there goes that round. He's got phenomenal control. You're not just standing back up. So to only have 3 rounds, kind of the margin of error on the Brandon Moreno side is not very high. I'm still going to pick him to win. I still think he gets it done. Let's take a look at some of the bets. Here's what I got going on. Keep in mind, I placed some of these bets weeks ago. Weeks, plural, ago. So if you are a premium member, if you went to WeWantPicks.com and you became a member for freaking $10, you saw a lot of these bets And you got them at the odds I got them, not at the odds that exist today. For example, Iwo Baraniewski, minus 140. He's minus 190 right now. Our premium membership is only $10. If Iwo wins and you were a premium member and you saw my bet and you did the same bet, the difference in the line alone could be worth premium membership. I think Iwo Baraniewski is just the better fighter. Ibo Aslan is dangerous. He can knock out a horse, but that's it. That's it. He's going to wing punches. They're big, they're heavy, and as long as Iwo doesn't get cracked with one, he'll win this fight. I think Iwo's the better wrestler, the better grappler, the better striker. Only a half a unit because he is a UFC debut. He is relatively untested, especially at this level, but I think he gets it done. Nazim Sadykhov, same thing. I got him at plus 155. Come fight night, or by the time you're watching this, he might actually be the favorite. That line is moving pretty steadily. I think he beats Ziam. I think he's the better overall striker. I think his forward pressure can be a problem for Ziam. I think his takedown defense is too good. He's training with a bunch of wrestling killers. And I think Nazim wins this fight. The problem is he does get hit. We almost watched him get finished in his last fight. But the good news is he's tough. He's durable. He does not quit. He picked himself up from the dead in his last fight and got an all-time finish knockout. I think Nazim Sadykhov wins this fight. I threw a half a unit on him at plus 155. The only reason it's a half and not a full is because I can't pick Ziam fights correctly to save my life. I have been wrong in almost every single Ziam fight. The only one I got right is when I picked Terrance McKinney to beat him a few years ago. Then we got a couple of round lines that I love. There's some bizarre round lines on this card. Barboza Turner. I don't know why that's a 1.5 round line, and I also don't know how the over is plus money. Jalin Turner's got a bunch of finishes, but it's not like this guy just looks at you and you get knocked out cold. And it's not like Barboza's getting smoked. Who is smoking Barboza? You have to go back to 2020, I believe. 2020 to find a fight where he got finished. This man has been in all-time wars against some of the best fights that have ever existed. And yeah, he was getting dotted up in his last fight against Trocoli close, but he didn't get finished. So over 1.5 rounds seems like pretty rock solid to me, especially a Jalin Turner who's coming out of a weird retirement and now he found the Lord and he's a new man. I assume this new man's going to show up a little conservative to try to take his time, hopefully get a win and not just fall right back into the losing column. Whatever side you're on, I think over 1.5 is super safe here, plus 100. Then we got plus 130 on the most boring fighter on the UFC roster. Grant Dawson is objectively, this is a fact. Grant Dawson's mother could be standing next to me right now, nodding her head in agreement that Grant Dawson is the most boring fighter that has ever existed in the UFC. And he has a 1.5 round line as the favorite. And I get it. He's finished some people before. And honestly, he could potentially find a finish here. He is a great wrestler. He's got great control. That's it, though. That's it. If he takes you down, you're not really standing up. So he can get on top, do some work. But Manuel Torres is a good grappler. I don't expect him to just get his face bashed in and quit. He's not an old Rafa Garcia. I think Grant Dawson is going to win this fight. I think he's going to get some takedowns. And I think Manuel Torres survives, maybe throws up a submission attempt or two. Doesn't get it. I think we cruise past 1.5 rounds. Grant Dawson having a 1.5 round line it's baffling. And it's a fist fight. Anything can happen. Maybe I look stupid. But let's just look at Grant Dawson's body of work. Let's just look at what he's actually done. And then, other than getting slept by Bobby Green in 4 seconds, when the hell is he running through people in 1.5 rounds? So yeah, I'll take the plus money over. Then we have a Bogdan Guskov win inside the distance decision, no action. Minus 140, I put a full unit on that. What that bet means is if Bogdan Guskov manages to finish Jan Blachowicz, finishes him, puts him out, finishes him, which he can do. He's got the power to do it. And Jan Blachowicz is 42 years old. I get paid. I get minus 140 odds. I get paid. But if he loses a decision, which is a somewhat likely outcome, I get a full refund. That bet never happened. They give me all my money back. We wash our hands. We move on. I don't see Bogdan getting finished here. Jan Blachowicz is not as dangerous as he used to be. He's certainly not the grappler that he used to be, or he doesn't use it as much. So whether we end up with a kind of boring Jan hang on the outside, dot the leg up kind of fight, or a Bogdan Guskov knocking out a 42-year-old man, I'm good either way. I'll take the refund. I prefer the money, but I'm not going to lose money here. The only way I lose money here is if Bogdan gets finished, and I just do not see that happening. Then we have Vettori Ferreira over 2.5 rounds, also minus 140. I like that bet as well. Brunno Ferreira has 2 minutes of cardio, so he'll fade. He's pretty tough, and Marvin's not really dangerous anymore. And Marvin Vettori is built out of the same things that they pour concrete into. Not the concrete itself, those giant metal cylinders that they pour the concrete into to mold it. That's what his head is made out of. You're not knocking out Marvin Vettori. So Brunno will come forward, land clean a few times, probably get frustrated, probably get slowed down. Regardless who actually wins the fight, I don't think we're going to get a finish. So we're going to get past 2.5 rounds, and I'll get paid there. And then we have the safety parlay. The word safe is up for debate, but we have the safety parlay. Minus 124, pretty confident in this. What we do with it going forward, I have no freaking idea. But long-term, the safety parlay has been wildly successful. We started this year, I believe it's 6 in a row. But lately, it has been up and down. And the reason for that is I've been throwing up plus money safety parlays like it's Jacob's Lock of the Week. I've been giving you plus money safety parlays week in and week out after the complaints that the odds were a little too far gone. So we're trying to keep it reasonable here. Minus 124 if you want to check that out. And the rest of the bets. Look at this. Big yellow letters. UFC 324 bets are up. We have a bet on the board, multiple bets on the board for UFC 324. Check them out now. WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top. Then we have a brand new slide. There's a couple of bets on this card that I want to place, but I've explained many times before, when they went in to do my vasectomy, they took out too much. So first of all, you're kneading through it's big. So you're kneading through this giant thing. You're kind of just snipping things. Like he doesn't want kids anymore. Just start cutting this out, cutting that out. They cut too much. I no longer have balls. I don't have the nuts of steel needed for some bets. A couple of the bets I want to place but haven't because the vasectomy took out a little too much is Mairon Santos by decision. Those odds don't actually exist yet. I don't know why, but we have prop bet odds for every single fight on this card except that one. When they do drop, maybe I'll pull the trigger, but I assume the things I need to pull the trigger are still on the operating room table. I think Mairon Santos wins this fight, and I think Muhammad Naimov is just too tough, too durable to get finished. So we end up with a Mairon Santos to win by decision. And you want to take that prop bet, you can get much better odds than his 2-1 odds right now. Peyton Talbot by decision. While those aren't spectacular odds, plus 105 is not bad. Plus money for somebody that everybody thinks wins. I haven't seen anybody picking Henry Cejudo. If Peyton Talbot wins, it will be dicey. He's not going to knock out Henry Cejudo. I know he's a little older. I know he's not who he used to be, but he's tough. He's durable. He's been in there with some of the best to ever do it. I think he survives a zesty Peyton Talbot. And then Chris Duncan, KO, TKO round 1, plus 375. I mean, does that not seem like the most likely outcome? Chris Duncan to win in round 1 is also plus money. But if he wins in round, he's not going to submit Terrance McKinney. I think he'll do what he does. Take a wild beating, go to the edge of death, crawl back, and then knock out Terrance McKinney. I actually picked Terrance McKinney to win this fight. I just have to pick who I think is the better fighter. But if I'm looking at bets, plus 375, you could do the exact same thing on the Terrance McKinney side and also get wild plus money odds. If you think one of these guys knocks each other out in the first round, then you might as well just bet a little bit on each side and you're going to cash no matter what because the odds are spectacular. So this is a new segment called They Over Vasectomied Me, but if they didn't, I might place these bets. Here's some other bets we have on the board for the boys. We have a UFC 324 money line, all premium across the board. You're going to have to check that out, you cheap bastard. It's $10, and we already have UFC 324 ready to go. Wake up. We have a round finish prop for this event, plus 700. A Brandon Moreno money line at plus 110. A Muhammad Naimov money line. I disagree with it. Take it up with Sam. Plus 190. And then Bet Sam's Slam of the Week is plus 105. That Slam of the Week is the new beacon of stability. It's not debatable, at least in recent times. That thing, he's hit 9 in a row. It would be 10 in a row, he's hit 9 of 10, not 9 in a row. It would be 10, but he kind of got screwed, in my opinion, out of that Jalin made a decision. 22 total units of bets on the board. That's not just this event. There's future events as well. So if you go to WeWantPicks.com and you click Become a Member at the top, you can instantly unlock every single pick, every single bet, every single tool. You can also get yourself a nice little bonus. If you go to the URL, Use the affiliate link. You sign up, make a deposit. We'll send you a couple bucks. I mean, it's that simple. It's the triangle of trust, or the thank you triangle, we'll call it, because they're going to get a new customer. So they're going to pay me a one-time commission. I'll slice it off and I'll give some to you. They got a customer. I got a couple bucks. You got a couple bucks. And it's just the thank you triangle. Check it out. Use that URL. Use the links on the page. And here's the events that are coming up. Yeah, there's a break. There's a break between UFC Vegas 112 and UFC 324. Do you think that means there's a break for me? No, of course not. Do you think that means the website takes a break? No, of course not. Every pick, every bet, every tool for the future events will be up, ready to go. We already have updated the tools. UFC 324 is in the tools right now. You can run the fight simulator for UFC 324. You can use a data analyzer for UFC 324. You can use the tape index for UFC 324. The tools have been updated. So if you want to get ahead and do the research and attack these lines now while people are sleeping, you can do so. Go to WeWantPicks.com. It's freaking $10. A, it supports the boys. B, you give yourself every single available opportunity to make a couple of dollars watching your favorite sport. Guys, I have never been more excited to watch UFC. Literally, never been more excited. It was very exciting when the UFC went to ESPN. This is my favorite sport. I've been watching it since literally day one. I've seen every single UFC event the day that it aired. Except back in the day, they would just rerun it on pay-per-view over and over, so you just catch it when it's on. And I'd have to go to my cousin's house because he had a descrambler and my parents weren't allowing us to pay for this. Either way, I've seen every single event about the time that it aired. Going to ESPN was very exciting. Getting fight nights was very exciting. We didn't always have fight nights. It was numbered events forever. Now going to Paramount and eliminating the pay-per-view model, I am very, very, very excited. 2026 is going to have the White House card. 2026 will have fights on CBS. CBS, at least in America, is free. Like free. Like mandated by the government to be free. You can get old school rabbit ear antennas to watch CBS for free. It is a broadcast TV channel. Our favorite sport just became more accessible than ever. That is good for you. That is good for me. That is good for the fighters. And I love it. Thank you for being here. Good luck this weekend.